There we go. All right. Hello and good morning. Shai is over there looking at me like, who are you talking to? Is somebody here? All right. Today is Monday, January 20th. Man, I feel freaking amazing today. What's going on? I know there's a lot of people out there who are not feeling so amazing right now, and I'm sorry, but I am. I feel awesome. Been doing a lot of self work. so, um, but here I am. I wanted to fit in another chapter reading. We're on chapter 4 of Dancing with Demons, a Love Story by Laura L. Holloway. That's me. Yeah, just wanted to get this done this morning because I'm heading into town today, so I will have some intranet and hopefully can get it posted on the YouTube for y'all. So here we go. Do I need my glasses or not? It's funny, I haven't really been needing them very much lately. Is my eyesight getting better? Maybe my vision is better because my attitude is improving. Could be. Anyways, I'll put them on. I'll try without them. We'll see how this goes. Chapter 4 The Dance. I hope you can hear me all right. That refrigerator is really loud right now. What's up with that? Hopefully it'll turn off in just a minute. Okay, chapter 4, The Dance. Things are only real after one has learned to agree on their realness. Something took place between you and the coyote, but it wasn't talk. I have been in the same quandary myself. I've told you that once I talked with a deer. Now you've talked to a coyote, but neither you nor I will ever know what really took place in those times. That is a quote by Carlos Castaneda from the book Tales of Power. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. Friday, November 27th, 2020, 4:35 a.m. or so. Very dark outside. No semi-trucks out at the transport company warehouse. I do hope the truck drivers are home this morning, sleeping in. Last night, just as I had fallen asleep, Fisher called out to me from his bedroom across the hallway, something about Black Friday and all the sales that would be happening today. I called back softly, not wanting to fully wake myself up. That we could talk about it in the morning. I keep reminding myself that all of this is really hard on him. The hunkering in, the re-upping of pandemic concerns. It can make everything seem a little wonky and overly worrying, even simple things like holiday shopping, which I find wonky and worrying in, quote, normal times. Yesterday, Thanksgiving Day, it was so good to just be able to get out of the house, to go over to Wendy's and embark on a sunny, socially distanced walk around their big, fancy neighborhood with its wide streets and large yards, where you can generally see what's coming around any bend. With our masks on and me carrying Dad's old spring-loaded striped umbrella at the ready, to be wielded as a colorful, surprising shield should we encounter any loose dogs. There was one Rottweiler-looking mix who was bouncing up to bark at us over a mere 4-foot fence, and I stopped in my tracks, thinking, that dog can go right over that fence if he wants to. Thankfully, the owner came out right away to bring the barking dog in, but I still waited in the middle of the street with Anzu on high alert at my side, while Wendy was kind enough to dispose of a bag of poop for me in the neighborhood poop station, which lived by the barking dog's house. Fisher and his 2 younger cousins played with a small strip of melting snow in the street. It was windy, and we were all bundled up. Fisher had not worn a hat, so I was glad when Wendy backed me up on my insistence that he keep his hood up to keep the wind out of his ears. My patience had worn thin after a morning of one argument with him after another over things that were valid from my perspective, but I sure could have handled better. I felt relieved when Wendy offered for Fish to stay at their house an hour longer, as his cousin wanted to build a pump track in their backyard. This was exactly what the boys needed, to be outside and to be boys. And me, what I needed was to have some quiet time at home, alone. So that was just perfect. I got to sit at the dining room table, listening to a Rich Roll podcast, and work on my goat portrait in peace. Fisher called before he was supposed to ride his bike home, asking if he could stay a while longer. Sure, I told him. He could stay until 4. A longtime pet care client turned mother figure to me called to say that she and her husband were bringing over some turkey. She asked if we preferred white or dark meat, and if Fisher would like a drumstick and some pie. So, along with the mini green bean casserole Wendy sent me home with and the salad I made, Fisher and I ended up having a fine representation of what a proper Thanksgiving supper ought to look like. I cleared the books and paints and desk-like clutter from the dining room table. We lit candles and everything and spoke of what we're thankful for. There is a lot, for sure. I feel my sadness creeping in, and I do not want it, but to deny it, I know, will only make it worse. Instead, consider the decision to open that door, to invite it in, to make it a hot cup of tea, to offer my sadness a seat by my imaginary fire in my imaginary warm wooden house. What would that look like? What does that look like, me? To sit close to my sadness, to give it my full attention, to lay my hands gently on its knee as it speaks. What is my sadness saying to me? What does my sadness need? It feels lonely. That part I know for sure. The rest of it is more blurry, confused. It is also so grateful for the gestures of caring and support, of green bean casserole and turkey and pie. There is some jumble of apprehension around that gratitude I feel emanating from this sad part of me. There is fear of losing that affection, that support, of not being deemed worthy by these loved ones in the end. What if someone recognizes how weak my sadness is? My sadness implores me. What if they judge it unworthy, too emotional, too needy, too grotesque, too scary, too weird? What if they leave it to die? I move in closer, taking its gnarled, hairy hand gently in mine. I feel its sharp nails brush my skin. I raise my other hand to cup its contorted face. I kiss its rough, wrinkled cheek, now streaming with quiet tears. My darling, you're in pain, I whisper softly. It will not look at me. I embrace my sadness, setting the cup of tea on a table by the warm and crackling fire. I feel its muscles beneath rough, unkempt fur. I feel its bones, its structure, its strength. My darling, you're in pain, I whisper again. It's okay, it's okay, I'm here. All of this insecurity, all of this sadness, all of this fear. How do I reassure the child in me who is so afraid of everything, who feels so vulnerable, so alone, so scared? I suppose this is all part of my ongoing practice in this life, what I am learning, what I am exploring, to just keep getting up every day, to greet it, step into it, to deepen my understanding by whatever opportunities the universe presents me with today, to practice being humble and grateful for every lesson in every moment of each and every day, to keep practicing letting go of all my grasping, all my anxiety, all my desperate attempts to control, to keep flowing with these visions and colors, keep flowing with this light. This light, breathe it in, baby girl. These thoughts, keep blessing them and letting them go. This fear, this sadness, keep acknowledging it, sweetheart. kiss its salty cheeks, and also let it go. This love, surround yourself with it, my darling girl. Wrap it around you like the warmest, softest blanket, like light. Breathe it in, baby girl. Breathe it in. Now, release. This is my work of spirit in this physical realm. This is my joy, my weirdness, my bliss. This is the best joke anyone could ever possibly tell me. The best joke I could ever possibly tell. So don't forget to laugh, baby. Often is the recommendation, as I understand it, and sounds like good advice to me, to not take ourselves, not all of this, too seriously. Just keep rolling with it, keep flowing with it, with sparkles of wonder in my eyes, with pixie dust in my hair. That sounds like a good life to me. I have this vision of a future, of a home, but I'm not quite sure yet where it will be. I know there are trees and wildlife and space, by which I mean skies and water and rolling hills of green. I envision sturdy outbuildings for the animals. I hear hoo-hooing in the forest at night. I see a screened-in porch and a big open bedroom on the top floor with tall windows and skylights and sliding glass doors. I feel there nurturing and family. I feel there the we, the inclusion of one who has done and continues to do their own work, the partner who has also yearned for me. This is what I see. Thank you. I have no use for chaos. I will not draw that to me. I have no use for drama, nor ugliness, nor meanness, nor lack. What I call forth is beauty, abundance, creativity, peace, and bliss. I can embrace these visions in the face of challenge and pain. I can pull fear close to my side. I can listen to what messages it has for me. I can acknowledge it. I can address its concerns. I can move confidently in the direction of the destiny I create. I can step boldly as I choose, knowing that this is why I am here, that this is my purpose, to experience this, all of this, as fully as it comes to me, as fully as I bring it, draw in, release, experience as fully as I choose. For all of it, I am so grateful, for every little bit. Saturday, November 28th, 2020, just a bit after sunrise. Yep, yesterday turned into a total depression freakout day. What a fucker that was. This morning, I awoke with my head pounding from so much crying, so much intensity and pressure in my brain. I got to my breaking point with Fisher yesterday afternoon, when he just would not let up, insisting that he be allowed to go to the games shop, and I finally belted out a ferocious "No!" which even in the moment made me think of Caesar in the scene from Rise of the Planet of the Apes, where he stands up, literally, to his evil captor and speaks for the very first time. That scene has given me goosebumps as often as I have seen it. I gathered up the dogs out into the car and left in a fury, calling Ryan as I sped down the country road from our townhouse, not even sure where I was heading. Fisher's dad was completely receptive and helpful, even as I sobbed and drove. He called Fisher back at home, ending up on the phone with him for hours, then with me again later in the evening, after I'd driven a lap around the countryside before winding up back home. Ryan really shined through. I honestly don't know what we would have done without him. It could have been a catastrophe, but instead ended peacefully, albeit tearfully, with Fisher watching Kubo and the Two Strings in the living room, with the volume turned down very reasonably low, with me passing out from sheer exhaustion in the guest room, once Dad's bedroom, and feeling that it was Dad's bedroom, even though, mostly, all of my things now fill it. There remains the Amish nightstand that used to be his, used to be in the very same place, only next to his bed. When the movie was over, Fisher came into the room to wake me gently, asking if I wanted to sleep here or up in my room. I wasn't sure. I felt both entranced and haunted by the image in my mind of Dad curled here, just like I was, curled upon his own bed, curled in his sadness, his loneliness, his despair, knowing that the cancer would take him sooner rather than later. I took a photograph of him there once, when I'd come to visit and found him sleeping. I remember he looked so small and vulnerable, like a child. It was confusing and heartbreaking to see him look like that, almost too much for me to bear. I did not wake him. I took a photo instead and quietly left. I want to go to my room, I told Fisher softly. My room which had been my dad's office. My room where he had never slept nor lay sobbing. My room where he had never died. Fisher took my hand sweetly, helping me from under the quilt on the guest bed, and led me out of the room. I felt worn and weary as I climbed the stairs with great effort, feeling again like my dad. But when I climbed into my own bed, ironically the very same mattress Dad had been curled upon, I felt a tremendous sense of relief. I felt the different energy of my room. Fisher and I exchanged good nights and I love yous. I'm sure within moments I was asleep. This morning, with all the pressure in my head, I woke up at 4 a.m., though I tried to keep myself sleeping until 5. I still felt like crying, my head still pounding, but at least Fisher and I had gone to sleep on good terms. This stuff is hard, there's no two ways about it. This stuff of being a teenager and of being a mother and of doing it all in crazy pandemic times. These are challenging days to navigate, for sure. I feel grateful for the support that got us through yesterday. I feel confident that we will get through today as well. Yesterday, I opened up my computer thinking I would work on the book. Instead, the computer crashed and burned, as it has been threatening to do for some time. It seemed to be laughing, "No book today." I called up my dear friend of 30 years in Tucson, feeling helpless to go online and look for a new computer myself. Lee is well versed in these sorts of things, taking the task on without hesitation. I told him that he's like my guardian angel, asking if it's okay for me to think of him that way. Lee said yes, he's comfortable with that. He texted last night as I lay in bed sobbing, with a computer for me to approve. He then told me it was on its way. Another great relief and another great reminder that I am supported, I am loved. I do not have to do this all alone. There is a chipmunk with half a tail, whom Fisher named Carl, outside the guest room window again as I write. He is fat with fluff and bird seed offerings. It makes me happy to see him thrive. I want a drink of water. Hang on. Hang on, Pony, you're doing so good. Whew. Sunday, November 29th, 2020. Probably close to 5 a.m. All these interesting choices in life. My nose itches. Excuse me. I feel a bit of anxiety this morning, a little flutter in my gut that I am paying attention to. I reached out to Beorn very briefly yesterday, just letting him know our COVID tests had come back negative. He replied quickly, asking if I wanted to go for a walk today. His messages were brief, so I tried not to be overly wordy myself, as I can tend to be. It seems we have agreed to meet at the wildlife area at noon today, while Fisher is over at Wendy's house, working on the pump track with his cousin. I hopped on the scale this morning and registered at about 20 pounds more of me to love than I am comfortable with. This is an interesting place to be coming from when I am scheduled to meet the Uber workout dude for a nature walk. The one who sent me a photo of himself shirtless and, swear to God, looking like the Hugh Jackman version of Wolverine. Oh my, how my heart does flutter for the Wolverine. The one who declares himself to be very, quote, average in looks. Feigned modesty, fishing for compliments. Also boasting that he can do the splits. The fellow who writes to me of honesty, while in the back of my mind I consider stories filtered through our small town grapevine of other women and their interactions with him. Cautionary tales, though I'm sure well-intentioned in their delivery, still probably none of my business. I can't help but wonder what both sides of those stories might be. Bottom line, I tell myself, is that this is an exploratory mission, a, quote, getting to know you kind of nature walk. There are no expectations, only an opportunity to talk with this fellow, whom I've seen around for many years and had never been quite sure what to make of. He has said in past messages that he hopes to become, quote, true friends, no longer mere acquaintances. I will focus on that element of conversation and intention. I will set all the curious speak of desire and attraction on the back burner to bring forward for future consideration, should it seem called for, prudent, and fit. A simmering sauce to drizzle on top, should the main course prove to be of worthy flavor and sustenance. Here we go again, Laura. Easy does it, and steady as she goes. I am aware and acknowledge once again that the sauce alone is not what I truly desire, though I may crave it. It is the entire delicious meal that I am prepared to settle in and await. Then there is Dan in our hometown, who seems to surround himself with chaos and drama that I want no part of. From his, quote, crazy meth head friend, whom he says he tries to take care of, to his alcoholic drummer, and heaven knows who else in his scene. I want no part of all of that, thank you very much. It all sends shivers down my spine. I will keep it far, far away from my child and myself, thank you, though he writes that I make him so happy. He says there's a lot of intensity he's dealing with, and that he's not trying to blow me off. He'll call tomorrow, he says. Then I hear nothing from him. The next little snippets I get are that he wants to come see me, to spend time with me, quote, soon, a recurring theme from him. He says that Madison, quote, needs a reset. But I have told him already, and he seems to forget. Not in this time of rising COVID rates across the country, around the world. Furthermore, in my mind, I am clear, not when a visit stood the risk of bringing along any chaos or dis-ease trailing in his wake. I have compassion, I certainly do care, and also, I will hold this safe space for myself and my family. I will invite no chaos here. Let me support my old friend from a distance, if I may, and as well as I possibly can. Let me offer him love and light in the times when he's ready to receive it. I do have such hopes for him finding his balance, his peace, my old friend. I do feel so much strength in him, so much fire and glorious potential. quote, "Old Danny Nine Toes," he laughs after his recent surgery to remove a digit. It will be interesting to see what he chooses to do with all of that, with the powers that surround him and those he chooses to wield. I saw a little snippet yesterday of David Sedaris talking about story writing. He said something about writing stories that have clear and definitive endings rather than just a stopping point. But that's just the thing of it, isn't it? I adore David Sedaris' story writing. He is a genius, and also, there are never really endings to any story, I believe. There are merely pauses, stopping points for the moment, before continuing toward eternity. A place to look around, to stretch, to smile, to take a deep breath and have a drink of water, if you please. A place to ready oneself, to move forward again. The end. Just kidding. Wahahaha. What was that noise? Hey, quiet. I think it was just kittens. In their room. Making noisy kitten noises. Because that would be really weird if somebody were at my house right now. Who would come to my house? Who would dare come to our realm? Anyways, okay, so that's the end of chapter 4. Man, I freaking love it. I just feel like there's so many good messages in there for me right now. It all just feels so timely from where it was written to where we are right now. I had a lot of chaos to go through, and I also feel like, man, it was in preparation for, I don't know, just being able to step into a really good place when there's heightened chaos kind of in the world. Just a lot going on in the world. I know I keep saying it. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for being here for my reading of chapter 4. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you like. Or don't. Do what you want. I still send so much love to you. Mwah! I hope you're having an amazing day. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye!